What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Social Club where everyone has a voice. I'm your host, Jacob Hale, and welcome back to part 2 of my March Madness bracket. So, I am going to do round 2 and then hopefully get to the end, but we'll see how long I talk on this one. Anyway, subscribe to the channel, like, comment your thoughts down below. Let me know, what do you think about my first round picks? Did I nail it, or am I the worst person to take advice from? Which I'd say it's 50-50, but I like my advice. But anyway, going into round 2 now, I want to make this clear. I'm recording all of this before the start of March Madness. The first 4 in hasn't even started yet, okay? So I'm going to do round 2 and going forward. However, obviously you can understand, unless I went completely perfect in the first round, there's going to be some gaps in what I say for round 2 and going forward, but that's okay. I'm going to try to get this out sometime this week anyway, so it won't do that much damage. Well, that said, let me go into the second round here. So in the second round of my bracket, I have Auburn versus Creighton. I have Auburn going past them. I do think Creighton's formidable, though. I wouldn't take them lightly. But I think Auburn's just a flat-out better team. And I would say I'm an Auburn guy. I always liked their head coach. I always thought he was a cool person, someone I would want to play for if I was ever good at basketball. Michigan versus Texas A&M. I actually have Michigan on this one. This is part of my hatred for SEC, apparently. But I actually have Michigan going forward with that. But with that being said, if Texas A&M ends up winning, it's not going to mess up my bracket. Hint, hint. Ole Miss versus Iowa State. I have Iowa State in this one. I think they're in a really interesting spot to where they could make a good run. But we'll take it one step at a time. I have Iowa State advancing from that. Next, I have Michigan versus Marquette. I always feel like they play each other every year. I don't know what's going on, but I always feel like they always find a way to run into each other. I got Michigan State on this one. I really like this Michigan State team, to be honest. And maybe it's just the Tom Izzo effect really getting to me, but I like them. I like them a lot. I really do. UConn versus Florida. Now, I will say, if you want to call an upset here and have UConn advance, I have no issue with that. I really don't. I think Florida is one of the best teams in the bracket, to be honest. But whatever you think about Don Hurley, I still think he's the best coach in college basketball. So whatever happens, he's going to have a good game plan for those boys. The only way Florida's going to win is they're just flat out a better team. But when it comes down to the coaching and the little mistakes going down the stretch, UConn, I believe, is going to have an advantage. No matter what happens, this is going to be a very close game. If Florida can get by that, it should feel really good. However, I wouldn't be surprised if UConn makes a major upset. Next one, I have Colorado State and Grand Canyon State. Colorado State is my Cinderella team, so I have them beating Grand Canyon State, but I think it'd be a lot of fun to watch. Drake versus Texas A&M. Drake is another team where I don't mind people saying that's their Cinderella team and have them advancing pretty far. Me personally, I think this Texas Tech team is a team built to win. They can win the whole thing. But so I have Texas Tech on this one, but I think this Drake team is interesting. And if you're a betting man, I think you can make some good money off of them. Next, I have Arkansas versus St. John. I wish Arkansas would be good, like really good one of these years and make it far. I think they made it pretty far about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a little bit further, but they're just interesting. And they just have a great fan base, man. They are exciting to watch, and the fans really get behind them. But I got St. John's for this one. I believe in them. I don't believe in them for long, but I believe in them enough to get by the first 2 rounds for sure. Duke versus Mississippi State. I have Mississippi State on this one. So hear me out. But I have Mississippi State on this one just because I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling this Duke team. I don't think they're going to show out as much as people would hope. Now, down the line in a year or two, they probably will be holding up the trophy, but I don't think this is their year. And one of these SEC teams is not ranked well. And that's just because the SEC was so good. So Pick one of these SEC teams to make a good run, and it's very possible just because all their seeding is very weird just because of how good that conference was this year. Next, we have Oregon versus Akron. I got Akron beating them. I don't really have an explanation for it. I just want to have fun. So I got Akron beating Oregon on this one. Wisconsin versus BYU. I got Wisconsin. As you heard from my first round, I do have my favorites, and I've been sprinkling them in and in the further along we go. So I have Wisconsin beating BYU, the Mormons. Next, I have Vanderbilt versus Alabama. This one's a tough one. I think that's another good upset spot if you want to pick Vanderbilt over Alabama. I don't mind that. I'm gonna go with Alabama personally because they only played one time, and if I remember correctly, they won. They beat them pretty well. I know they won, but I think they beat them pretty well. So I think Alabama's gonna handle them again. However, anything can happen, man, and it's tough to play in your conference in the tournament. So it's an interesting spot. I don't have the guts to pick Vanderbilt, but keep that in mind. Houston versus Gonzaga. I would love Gonzaga to be good enough to beat Houston just for the parity, but I got Houston in this one. I have Purdue versus McNeese State. I wish I looked up the schedule beforehand to see if they went against the School of the Blind and the Mississippi State for women. With that being said, I got Purdue beating McNeese. When in doubt, always pick the bigger school. Next, we have Kentucky versus Texas or Xavier. Again, if Texas was in it, then I would definitely pick Texas to beat Kentucky. However, I don't know whether it's going to be Texas or Xavier, so I don't want to put myself in a weird position where I pick a team that doesn't even make it to the official tournament. So I have to pick Kentucky on this one. However, I think Texas is also a big sleeper team. I like them as well. But, yeah, I just don't know. Maybe if I waited a day. But I'm just going to have to go with Kentucky on this one. Tennessee versus UCLA. I got Tennessee. Like I said before, I'm never betting on UCLA to go the distance. I can't do it. I've had too many bad experiences with that. Moving on to the Sweet 16, you have Auburn versus Michigan. I got Auburn in this. Again, I think Auburn's one of the best teams out there. I mean, I don't think they are the best team out there. So I think they handle Michigan. Iowa State versus Michigan State. I got Michigan State. However, it's going to be a great game regardless. I mean, all these games are going to be great. It's the Sweet 16, but I think it's going to be a really good game. I got Michigan State squeezing out. Again, the Izzo effect. Florida versus Colorado State. Interesting. I would love to say Colorado State makes it past there, but who am I kidding? I mean, Florida's going to beat them if they make it that far. Florida's big spot is UConn. They can get past UConn. That next game will be fine, whoever they face in that lower tier. So next we got Texas Tech versus St. John's. I'm going to go with Texas Tech on this one. I like them a little bit more. I think they go pretty far, to be honest. All right, going up, Sweet 16, East Bracket, Mississippi State versus Akron. Give me Mississippi State. See? As much hate as I was saying on the SEC, they sure are making it pretty far, but don't worry, they're not staying for long. All right, I got Wisconsin versus Alabama. Personally, I got Wisconsin. This is where everyone's going to hate me, but I got Wisconsin on this. We'll see how the cards play out. I'll see you guys in the comments. I don't care. Next, we have Houston versus Purdue. To be honest, I really don't know much about this Purdue team. I don't know what their skill set is, to be honest, to make a fair judgment of the team. So I'm going a little blind in this, which is why I'm just going to stick with Houston. Houston usually has a very good showcasing. Kentucky versus Tennessee. Yeah, we'll see if Kentucky makes it that far, but whoever they face, I got Tennessee in it. Now, if Texas makes it there that far, I think it'll be interesting. But from the recording, I don't even know if they're going to even make it to the actual playing or the actual game. So I'm going to have to go with Tennessee on that one. All right, now we got the Elite Eight. Now, like I said before, none of the Blue Bloods are in the Elite Eight, and none of the SEC teams are making it to the championship. So you obviously see where this is going. Auburn versus Michigan State. I have Michigan State beating them. The Izzo effect. I'd say that and then watch them lose like the first round against Bryant or something like that. Next, I have Florida versus Texas Tech. I have Texas Tech. Now, I just want to say this in general. I'm not the guy that picks a first round or a number one seed to make it to the championship game. Or at least I don't pick all of them too. I might pick one, maybe two, but it really just depends on the years. I think it's just a good strategy as a whole. Like the people that will have all the one seeds meeting up in the Final Four is like you're not gonna win. You're playing with fire. Your best bet is winning them to win it all. All right, next I have Mississippi State versus Wisconsin. I have Wisconsin winning that. I think Wisconsin is just in an interesting spot with these brackets. I see them having a good shot to go deep in the playoffs. And that's what can make it so interesting about the brackets is that sometimes it just comes down to where your placement is and the types of teams you have to go against to make it far, you know. Finally, at the end, I have Houston beating Tennessee. So now in the Final Four, I have Michigan, Texas Tech, Wisconsin, Houston. I have Michigan State beating Texas Tech because, again, the Izzo effect. No, I'm joking. No, Tom Izzo is great, but I just see Michigan State just going on a really good run. I think they just have a really great team, and I forgot the guy's name. I think it's Josh Richardson or something like that, but superstar talent. And if you're ever going to pick a team, you got to pick a team that has a superstar on there. You know, I would take one superstar over a collectively good team, which sounds backwards, but if a guy's unguardable, he's unguardable. And then I have Wisconsin versus Houston. I have Houston winning that. So my championship game is Michigan versus Houston, and I have Michigan State winning it all. Should be obvious. The way I talked about them, it should have been very obvious. But I have Michigan State winning it all this year. Again, I'm completely in love with Tom Izzo for some reason. Maybe I should get his jersey and put his name on the back or something. But that's what I have. I have Michigan State winning it all. It's a little clunky. Got some upsets in here. Tried to go a little bit conservative. But you guys let me know who you have winning it all, and let me know what you think about my picks. You think they're crazy? You think they have some reasoning in it? I'm all ears. I love talking ball with you guys, but other than that, you can go ahead and check out our other content. We are posting so much stuff for March Madness and beyond, but I'll leave that as a secret for now. So if you guys enjoyed this, go ahead and like and subscribe, follow the channel, follow us on all of our other socials. But other than that, take care of you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.